The zombie apocalypse grips our imagination because it's more than just monsters lurching through the streets or the thrill of a good scare. It's a story about the end of the world as we know it, and what happens when the rules of society suddenly vanish. When we picture cities overrun and civilization crumbling, it taps into our deepest anxieties about losing everything familiar, our homes, our routines, even our sense of safety. The collapse of everything we know is terrifying, but also strangely fascinating. Zombies are everywhere in pop culture: movies, TV, video games, comics, and even books. We can't seem to get enough of them, and every new story brings a fresh twist on the apocalypse. But why do they fascinate us so much? What is it about these shambling, relentless creatures that keeps us coming back for more, even when we know how the story ends? Zombies represent our fear of losing control, of society unraveling before our eyes. They're a symbol of chaos, of the world turning upside down in an instant. And perhaps most chillingly, they embody the fear of loved ones turning into threats, of the people we trust becoming unrecognizable, even dangerous. The horror is deeply personal. Imagine facing someone you care about, only to realize they're no longer themselves. It's a nightmare that forces us to question what we'd do if someone we loved became a monster. Yet the apocalypse fantasy also offers a strange kind of escape. In a world stripped of the daily grind, survival becomes the only goal. There's a raw simplicity to it. No more emails, deadlines, or small talk. Just the challenge of staying alive, and the chance for ordinary people to become heroes. In these stories, we see people pushed to their limits, forced to fight for life, to adapt, and to discover strengths they never knew they had. Zombies are powerful metaphors for our modern anxieties. Mindless crowds, the spread of disease, and the feeling that change is coming whether we're ready or not. They reflect our fear of losing our individuality in a world that sometimes feels overwhelming. Their relentless, unstoppable nature mirrors our fear of being swept away by forces beyond our control, be it work, technology, or global crises. That's why zombies endure in our stories and nightmares. They embody our deepest fears, but also our hopes for a world where we can start over. In the end, the zombie apocalypse is about stripping life down to the essentials: survival, connection, and the search for meaning in chaos. The zombie will always shamble through our nightmares, a haunting reflection of both our dread and our secret desires for something different. Zombies may be fiction, but nature is full of real mind controllers, parasites, fungi, and viruses that hijack their hosts. These organisms don't just make their hosts sick, they rewrite behavior, turning creatures into pawns for their own survival. Infected animals might climb, leap, or even seek out predators, all to serve the parasite's life cycle. The diversity is astounding. Fungi bursting from insects, protozoans making rodents fearless, worms driving hosts to water. Each case is a glimpse into evolution's ruthless creativity. These natural zombies show that mind control isn't just fantasy, it's a successful survival strategy. The real monsters are all around us, acting out their dramas in the wild. If any real pathogen resembles the zombie myth, it's rabies, a virus spread by a bite with terrifying results. Rabies travels along nerves to the brain, evading the immune system until it's too late. Once there, it rewires the host, causing aggression and a compulsion to bite, perfect for spreading itself. Hydrophobia, or fear of water, keeps the host's saliva virus rich and ready to infect. The parallels to zombie fiction are striking: transmission by bite, aggression, loss of reason. Rabies doesn't reanimate the dead, but it turns living creatures into mindless, violent shells. It's nature's closest version of a zombie script. The horror is real, even if the apocalypse isn't. In Rabies, we glimpse how a virus can turn a host into a weapon. Deep within the lush, humid depths of tropical forests, a real-life horror story quietly unfolds every day. Here, among the tangled roots and fallen leaves, the cordyceps fungus begins its sinister work. This is no ordinary fungus, it's a master manipulator, infecting unsuspecting ants and turning them into what can only be described as zombies, their will no longer their own. The process starts when a single, almost invisible spore lands on an ant as it forages. The spore clings to the ant's exoskeleton, then slowly invades its body, breaching its defenses. Once inside, the fungus grows, spreading unseen, and silently begins to take over the ant's very being. Unlike what you might expect, the cordyceps fungus doesn't attack the ant's brain directly. Instead, it infiltrates the muscles, weaving through tissue and releasing a cocktail of chemicals. These chemicals hijack the ant's nervous system, manipulating its movements with eerie precision, as if the ant were a puppet on invisible strings. Compelled by forces it cannot resist, the ant abandons its colony and begins a strange, solitary journey. It climbs away from the safety of its nest, ascending a plant stem to a very specific height, an ideal spot chosen not by the ant, but by the fungus controlling it. Once there, the ant is forced to bite down on the underside of a leaf or twig, locking its jaws in a death grip. This is no accident. The position is perfect for the fungus's next act, ensuring the ant remains fixed in place, suspended above the forest floor. With the ant immobilized, the Cordyceps fungus consumes its host from within, feeding on its tissues. Eventually, a stalk-like fruiting body erupts from the ant's head, breaking through the exoskeleton. From this gruesome perch, the fungus releases a new shower of spores ready to infect more ants below. Cordyceps doesn't simply kill its victim, it transforms the ant into a launch pad for its own survival, ensuring its spores are perfectly positioned to rain down on the next generation of unsuspecting ants. Scientists have marveled at this chilling display of mind control, where a simple fungus can override an insect's instincts and behavior with such precision. It's a haunting reminder of how complex and interconnected life in the rainforest can be. The ant's final act is not its own, but the fungus's masterpiece, a macabre work of biological art, crafted for survival and spread. In the world of nature, zombies are not just the stuff of fiction. The story of Cordyceps and its ant hosts is stranger, more chilling, and far more real than anything we could imagine. Not all mind control is dramatic. Some, like Toxoplasma gondii, are subtle and insidious. This parasite infects rodents, forming cysts in their brains and altering their fear response. Infected rats lose their instinctive fear of cats, sometimes even seeking them out. This makes them easy prey, delivering the parasite to its final host, a cat, where it can reproduce. The rat isn't a mindless zombie, but its survival instincts are quietly overwritten. Toxoplasma's manipulation is a whisper, not a shout, a gentle nudge toward doom. It raises unsettling questions about free will and the power of invisible influences. Sometimes the most dangerous control is the one you barely notice. Pop culture zombies and nature's mind-controlled hosts share a theme, the loss of autonomy. But beneath the surface, they're fundamentally different, both in origin and in purpose. The zombies we see in movies are the stuff of nightmares, dead bodies reanimated by mysterious forces, stripped of humanity and driven by a relentless, insatiable hunger. They're the ultimate monsters, unstoppable except by destroying the brain, and they exist only to spread chaos and fear. Movie zombies are dead, reanimated, unhealing, and single-minded. Their bodies rot as they move, and their only goal is to consume the living. They're a metaphor for our deepest fears: loss of control, the breakdown of society, and the unstoppable march of death. Nature's zombies, on the other hand, are very much alive. Their bodies are hijacked by parasites, but their hearts still beat, their muscles still move. These creatures become biological pawns, manipulated to serve the parasite's needs, not their own. The manipulation in nature is astonishingly precise. Cordyceps fungus, for example, doesn't just kill its ant host. It guides it to a perfect spot for the fungus to grow and spread, turning the ant into a vehicle for its own reproduction. Toxoplasma gondii, a microscopic parasite, targets a rat's fear of cats, rewiring its brain so the rat is drawn to its predator instead of fleeing. The parasite's goal isn't destruction, but survival and reproduction. Fictional zombies are simple, shambling, biting, and eerily uniform in their behavior. They act as a collective, a mindless horde, stripped of individuality and purpose beyond spreading infection. Real mind control in nature is elegant, targeted, and complex. Parasites can alter very specific behaviors, sometimes even changing the chemistry of their host's brain to achieve their goals. The purpose differs too. Movie zombies threaten apocalypse, the end of civilization as we know it. Their rampage is about destruction on a massive scale. Real parasites, in contrast, just want to complete their life cycle. Their manipulation is about survival, not annihilation. They don't want to end the world, just to move from one host to the next. Nature's horror isn't world-ending, it's the unsettling ease with which autonomy can be stolen. The way a living creature's will can be bent to serve another's needs. The true terror is not in the destruction of the world, but in the quiet, invisible theft of free will. A creature can be alive, yet no longer in control of its own actions. In the end, nature's zombies reveal something profound: the fragility of free will, and how easily it can be subverted by forces we can barely see. The world doesn't end in a parasitic takeover. Life goes on, the forest remains peaceful, and most creatures remain blissfully unaware of the battles for control happening all around them. The monsters on screen are fantasy, creations of our imagination, designed to thrill and terrify. The ones in nature, though, are a fact of life. They're a reminder that the real world is full of strange, subtle horrors that don't need to end the world to be terrifying. In the end, the real story isn't about destruction. It's about control and the invisible battles for autonomy that shape the natural world. Could a mind-controlling parasite turn humans into zombies? Science says, almost certainly not. Human brains are vastly more complex than those of insects or rodents. Parasites like cordyceps are finely tuned to their hosts. Jumping to humans is like hacking a supercomputer after hot-wiring a go-kart. Our immune systems and genetic diversity make us tough targets for any would-be mind controller. Even a rabies-like virus faces huge hurdles. Dead bodies can't spread infection, and living hosts are quickly isolated. Modern medicine and communication would stop an outbreak long before it became apocalyptic. The real world is not a zombie movie. Our complexity and adaptability are our best defense. The scientific verdict is clear: a classic zombie apocalypse is impossible. Dead bodies can't move and decomposition wins every time. Even a rage virus scenario is unlikely. Real pathogens like rabies aren't contagious or fast enough. The most successful viruses don't incapacitate their hosts, they spread quietly. Zombies are easy to spot and isolate, making a runaway pandemic unlikely. Nature's mind controllers are fascinating, but they don't offer a blueprint for human apocalypse. Our real threats are mundane flu, coronaviruses, antibiotic resistance. The monsters we should fear are invisible, not undead. Zombie fiction may be fantasy, but real mind control in nature is a sobering reminder of how fragile autonomy can be. Parasites like cordyceps and toxoplasma show that free will can be chemically rewritten. Humans aren't immune to manipulation. Ideas, misinformation, and technology can shape our behavior too. The real fear isn't monsters but losing ourselves, becoming passengers in our own minds. Nature's zombies prove that control can be stolen, sometimes without us even noticing. The battle for our minds is ongoing, fought by forces both biological and ideological. Next time you watch a zombie movie, remember, the scariest question is how much of what you do is truly your own. In the end, the real strings may be pulled by things we never see.